Want to crush your exams without pulling all-nighters? This video is for you. We'll uncover the hidden obstacles in your study routine and show you how to overcome them. Stick around as we share 8 tips, with the last one being the one-size-fits-all solution. Let's dive in and transform your study game. Number 1. Procrastination. Procrastination is a big issue for many students. It's when you put off doing tasks or studying until the last minute, which causes a lot of stress and usually leads to poor exam results. We often procrastinate because we want to avoid discomfort and enjoy short-term pleasures instead. The biggest reason for this is usually distractions, especially from screens. Students often scroll through social media thinking they can always study later. But putting off studying until the night before an exam almost never works out and is just a waste of time. So it's important to deal with procrastination directly. Number 2. Reviewing what you already know. When students use active studying strategies, they often spend most of their time on topics they already know. This is because solving familiar problems is more comfortable and boosts their confidence. However, this approach can lead to running out of time to tackle the challenging problems they don't know how to solve, which are usually the ones they miss on the test, and that's a big problem on this level. Number 3. Ineffective studying. Most students usually just read through their class notes when they study. Sadly, this isn't very effective because it's too passive. Many students even admit that they can read a page of notes and not remember anything they just read. If they can't remember it right after reading, how can they expect to answer questions about it on a test? Naturally, the test will be much harder if they study this way. Number 4. Not starting early enough. Would you cram at the last minute if you were preparing for a sports event? Just like muscles, your brain can only handle so much at once. Waiting until the last minute means your studying won't be very effective, and you'll miss out on techniques like spaced repetition, which helps you learn better by reviewing material periodically. Delaying your study sessions can turn a week of work into a few stressful nights of cramming, and this will hamper effective learning. Number 5. Rereading notes for revision. Even though rereading notes isn't a great study method, a lot of students still do it. A recent study found that 84% of students use rereading for revision, and 55% say it's their top strategy. The problem with rereading is that it's often just skimming through the material. This means students aren't really processing or thinking about what they're reading, so the info doesn't stick in their long-term memory. Number 6. Setting unrealistic goals. When you start studying late, you might set goals that are way too ambitious and end up cramming everything in one go. Cramming tends to stress you out, causing sleepless nights and even affecting your health. The pressure to rush through so much material can mess with your memory and overall performance. So setting unrealistic goals isn't a great way to study. It just gets in the way of doing well. Number 7. No motivation. One big reason students have trouble studying effectively is that they're just not motivated. Motivation is super important for getting good study habits and doing well in school. Without it, it's hard to push yourself to keep going. If you're not motivated, whether because of family or teachers, it can really hurt your performance. You need that drive to succeed, and without it, studying becomes a major hurdle that's getting more common. Number 8. Lack of goal setting. A common mistake is starting to study without a clear plan. If you don't know what grades you need, what to focus on, or how to study effectively, you'll probably waste time and end up unprepared. It's important to figure out which exams are most crucial for your grades. Ideally, you study everything, but with limited time, prioritize exams that will impact your overall grade the most, or where you need a higher score to improve your average. Knowing what's important helps you study smarter and be better prepared. Number 9. Ignoring self-care. Skipping self-care during exams is another huge mistake that can mess up both your health and your performance. Not eating right, missing sleep, or skipping breaks might seem like you're saving time, especially if you procrastinated or want to focus on studying. But actually, it's the opposite. A lot of students make these mistakes, but don't worry. We've got solutions for you, so stick with us till the end. So starting with number 1, solutions. Number 1, schedule and prioritize. Set up a study schedule that works for you. It's a great way to feel on top of things and know what you need to get done. Use a planner or an online tool to mark your deadlines. Once you know what's due and how much work is needed, you can break things into manageable chunks and fit in other stuff like work and hanging out with friends. Tackle the hardest subjects first, then move on to the easier ones. If you've got tests coming up, mark their dates and plan your revision time so it doesn't get pushed aside. Stick with it and you'll do great. Number 2. Minimize distractions. These days, using screens for studying feels comfortable, but it might be hindering your progress. A psychology lecturer from the University of Leicester found that it's harder to remember information from screens compared to books or paper. To improve your study routine, try printing out notes or articles to give your eyes a rest. Screens also bring distractions like texts and notifications, so turn off notifications, put your phone away, find a quiet space, or use noise-canceling headphones. Ideally, minimizing screen time while studying can lead to better focus and retention. Number 3. Active learning. If you're asking, how can I study smart and save time for exams? One tip is to start writing down key points in a notebook as you read. Research shows that your brain remembers information better when you write it down after reading or hearing it. So ditch the highlighter and use flashcards to jot down the essentials. The Lightner system is a useful method that combines spaced repetition and increasing intervals to help you track your progress and retain information better. Also, keep your notes organized and set clear goals for each study session. This approach makes your study time more effective. Number 4. Set smart goals. Setting specific goals while studying can really show how much progress you're making. A good way to do this is by using the SMART method. For example, instead of just saying you'll study more, plan something like, I'll study every day from 2 to 4 p.m. at the library. Making your goals measurable, such as studying a certain number of hours or boosting your exam score by a specific percentage. Keep them realistic. If you currently study 2 hours a week, aim for 3 or 4 hours, not 10. Align your goals with your schedule and commitments. And remember why you're doing this, keeping your long-term goals in mind. Number 5. Focus on one thing. You might try multitasking to get things done faster, but it often makes studying more complicated. Instead, focus on one task at a time. When you sit down to study, get fully into it and avoid distractions like TV, browsing the internet, or chatting with friends. This way, you'll stay on track and make better use of your time. Number 6. Prioritize sleep. According to an NIH article, lack of sleep can reduce your ability to learn by up to 40%. Dr. Matthew Walker from the University of California notes that pulling all-nighters isn't effective for learning. Sleep impacts the hippocampus, which is vital for forming new memories. While awake, memories accumulate but can fade, so sleep helps the brain sort and strengthen them. If you study well but don't get enough sleep, you might waste your efforts. So aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night to improve memory and learning. Number 7. Fuel your brain. You might think almonds are a magic brain booster, but that's not quite true. While almonds are healthy, no single food can drastically improve brain power. The best strategy is to eat a balanced diet with lots of fruits, veggies, legumes, and whole grains. Foods that are good for your heart, like leafy greens, berries, tea, and coffee, are also great for your brain. For protein, choose plant sources and fish, and use healthy fats like olive oil. Number 8. Find your learning style. Figuring out what study method works best for you might take some time and trial and error, but trust the process. You will end up being a top student. There are plenty of ways to test your knowledge beyond just reviewing notes or flashcards. Jesse Schwab, a psychologist at Harvard, suggests using metacognition, which means thinking about how you learn. Try these steps. Before you dive into a new chapter or lecture, think about what you already know and what you want to learn. While studying, take notes on new info and connections and jot down any questions. Afterward, summarize what you've learned and find answers to your questions. So start by slowly adding new study habits and see what works best for you. Track your focus and how well you remember things, and make sure to reward yourself for progress. By tackling obstacles, you can make your study sessions more productive and set yourself up for academic success. So if you found these tips helpful, hit that subscribe button for more great content. Remember, just studying isn't enough.